Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a best-of-3 series of professional Terran versus Protoss, where apparently our Terran player is already opening up by sending out an SCV to watch what seems to be the other side of the map. Spawning here in the bottom right hand corner of Triton in game number 1 of the series. Playing with the blue Protoss probes from South Korea, we're looking inside of the main base of Zest. His opponent sending that SCV across, playing with the red Terran SCVs from Team Liquid, likewise also from South Korea, we have Taeja. Now what's the plan? I guess it's a proxy barracks. There it is. Proxy barracks going up at the 40-second mark on the other side. Nice timing there by Taeja, sending out that SCV right at the correct moment. Now this is very close to the main base of the Protoss player, who's currently actually walling right here on the top of the ramp for any potential Reapers to jump up. Now I think a lot of you that watch this channel regularly are very familiar with Zest. As of me making this video on Illegalek, actually, he's the rank 1 Protoss on the planet. This guy's ridiculously good, and obviously Illegalek is just a statistics website. It won't necessarily give you the most accurate representation, but it's pretty good. At the very least, it indicates that Zest is ridiculous when it comes to playing top-level StarCraft 2. Some of you might not necessarily be as familiar with the name Taeja. So Taeja was a player who was around many years ago, back in like the early days of StarCraft 2. Oh, by the way, it's a Marine, so I guess he's gonna proxy the factory too. Approaching 100 gas here in just a little bit. I think it has to be, right? There it is, yeah. Gonna go indeed proxy that factory, but he won a ridiculous amount of tournaments back in like, I think it was like 2012, 2014 or so. I will name off all of his like rank 1 tournament results here, hopefully in the next game, because I think this one is gonna be a little bit action-packed. It's a massive list. This guy has won a lot of tournaments, and after recently wrapping up his military service, he decided to return to SC2. Now, here's the thing, Zest is not scouting in this game. He's just going for like this wall off at the top of the ramp to prevent any like Reapers from jumping up. He just went for the expansion on the low ground. Normally this build is pretty safe. The thing is, right, so this is one of the things that Protoss players have started doing recently a lot, where they basically construct the first couple of buildings in a way that the Reaper can't jump up, so it has to go all the way around. The thing is, if you get like high ground vision, yeah, there's a starport coming up as well. That is so aggressive. Oh, good, he's even sending out the Marine right now all the way back home to make it look like just a normal play. That's really cheeky. Yeah, this Adept is gonna get across. It's gonna find that one Marine and then, you know, maybe think everything is okay. I guess he sees the lack of expansion. But anyways, this is gonna be relatively safe. If you put these structures on top of the ramp right over here, though, if you have high ground vision, a siege tank can shell away at these structures really easily. Very, very aggressive opener from Taeja, which literally would have been, you know, countered with a probe scout. Right now, though, Zest manages to get across the map. He scouts right here on the top of the ramp. He must know that something is not right, right? I mean, there's absolutely no tech structure here whatsoever, just one Marine, which is a little bit weird. Like, that Marine, where did it come from? Where are we going? There's a lot of questions. He needs to try and see if he can defend against this right now. Now, I did go for the robotics facility. A siege tank, however, is already coming up. We will be seeing the medivac here in just a little bit too. So I guess that Taeja wants to maybe do some like elevator play where he like drops the units up towards that high ground. But I really do like this start. I feel like this is especially punishing to someone who does not probe scout and who then also indeed does not construct the buildings in a bit of a safer position. Love this Taeja. Really aggressive style. Already picks up that one pylon right before the cybernetics core actually finished up the warp gate upgrade. Does need to be careful. Nice pickup micro. Who needs a prism when you've got a medivac with boost? And I think that cyber core may actually go down right before the warp gate upgrade will finish. That's so huge. There it is. So no more warp gates. What are you gonna do? I guess micro with the prism, that's probably the plan here, but this is gonna be a lot of Terran units coming out here within the first couple of minutes of this game. Now, there is the prism. There is, of course, that Immortal inside of the prism as well, which is huge, but, I mean, there's so much. Like, he's still got the Viking. Actually, I think he should just fly the Viking. Just start attacking that prism. I mean, there's one Stalker in there, which can kind of zone away at this. There we go. The Marines right now, some of them at the very least are going to start gunning away at the Nexus. Love the fact that Taeja is not getting too greedy here, just simply splitting everything off. And this is looking like it's already in the bag right now for the Terran player. Like, just simply killing the warp gate upgrade is so massive, right? Here we go, though. Obviously, Zest has pulled rabbits out of hats in the past. He's really good when it comes to that micro. But a third tank right now is joining in. There's a bunker going up on the high ground. Another Viking joining, too. What are you going to do? How are you gonna stop this as a Protoss? Well, here we go. Apparently, Zest wants to try by pulling the boys first off. One of the Immortals right now, target firing down the Siege Tank. Did not quite happen. Vikings zoning away against that Prism. He does not get the pickup, and Zest immediately taps out. GG, Taeja wins game number 1. Alrighty, so here we go. Game number 2, we find ourselves on Ephemeron. Now, I secretly hope that this game will open up a little bit less explosively than game number 1, because that way I can actually talk about Taeja's results and his tournament victories that he's had back in the day. He's one of the most successful StarCraft 2 players, and I guess even though not necessarily everyone is very familiar with him right now, he certainly deserves a lot of the respect that he gets from the pro gamers these days. So, here's the thing. He's currently the rank 39 in the world. However, back in the day, he won so much. So when it comes to StarCraft 2 tournaments, they are categorized in Premier, Major, or Minor, with Premier obviously being the most important tournaments. Now, when it comes to tournament victories alone, and when it comes to Premier events only, he has won the following. MLG Summer 2012, Aces ROG Summer 2012, DreamHack Valencia, Home Story Cup 7, Aces ROG 2013, DreamHack Bucharest, Home Story Cup 8, DreamHack Winter 2013, Home Story Cup 9, DreamHack Summer 2014, and IEM Shenzhen 2014 as well. So obviously that does not include like second places or third and fourth places or like major tournaments that he's won. He participated in so many events, he traveled the planet for a couple of years and basically won every single event that was important to him. Now, I found this funny quote actually that I want to read to you as well. So, on June 2nd, 2016, Team Liquid's co-founder Nazgul announced that Taeja had finally decided once and for all and with absolute certainty to retire. Yet here we are. Yet here we are in 2019. Mr. Taeja once again back at it. I mean, he did complete his military service pretty recently. He's actually not that old yet either. So I believe if you are a South Korean citizen, you have to like do your military service before like age 28. Don't quote me on that, but it's something along those lines. I think Taeja is like 24 right now. So all things considered, he did his military service quite young. So he certainly does still have a lot of like StarCraft juice back in him. But okay, let's have a look at what's going on here. So we do have that barracks going up here inside of the main base. Taeja opening up relatively normally, but now also proxying another barracks here a little bit closer to that main base here of Zest. Zest, once again, by the way, not really deviating from the plan very much. Just opens up with that very standard build of his. Not even scouting with a probe, even after game number 1. He's not too worried about it. The Twilight Council is coming up, though, so no robotics facility. Maybe he feels a little bit safer with that. I guess if you can get Blink out or something along those lines, you can obviously get a lot of value. Right now, though, you should know that everything is relatively normal, right? The thing is, you can't really scout very easily whether or not there's also like a factory here. That's a lot of Marines. They're gonna ward away here against that Adept for quite some time. Blink is coming up already. Now, by the way, this is played with the new multiplayer balance patch. So maybe we're gonna be seeing some of those like Usain Bolt zealots here in a little bit too. They are significantly faster than they were in the previous patch. A whole lot of things have changed. Now, Taeja is indeed gonna go ahead and now build a barracks with a tech lab. And now he's gonna go for the concussive shells upgrade together with a couple of Marauders. Taeja playing some really cheeky games. I'm curious to see how this plays out. So right now in the meta of TVP, we usually do have the Protoss player out expanding Terran quite quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if Zest is actually thinking about getting another expansion in just a little bit, which would be odd because that's exactly where those Marauders are coming. Coming onto the map as well. Okay, apparently there was a little bit of a pause. My Korean is not very good. I have no idea what they say. Go, go, yo. There you go. I could read that. A couple of SCVs are actually now making their way across the map as well, together with this hit squad of Marines. All right. So actually Zest is scouting right now. He knows that something is not quite right. Excellent catch there by the blue Protoss player, realizing that that army there is not big enough. He didn't see any Cyclones, no real important units anyway. All of the Marauders right now are picked off, and while Stimpack here is a little bit... Well, I mean, that's a greedy upgrade. He's never going to finish that over there, right? But I guess what this does mean right now is he can try and snipe the tech lab, but he needs to go home. Ooh, actually, okay, yeah, it was just simply burning down. I was going to say, that would be an absolute disaster. He does decide to mass recall towards the natural expansion. A couple of shield batteries coming up, but also a few of those bunkers. Taeja is smelling blood in the water, but honestly, I don't know if I like this position for him all too much. Yeah, he killed a couple of probes. That's fine and dandy, but he's gonna lose a couple of SCVs here as well. These bunkers are not gonna achieve very much here whatsoever, and this is exactly where Zest shines. Just simply goes up towards that third base. Probably will try his very best and just macro his way out of this while doing a little bit of counter-attack aggression as well. And when you look at the economy right now, yeah, it's pretty even. But obviously a third Nexus is already coming up. I really like this position here for the blue Protoss player. Now, one Marauder, actually. One Marauder. Dude, what are you doing? There's one Marauder right over here. There's also actually now a barracks inside of the main base producing a Marine. He can't actually see that. Zest, that is. Just a very annoying playstyle here. One Stalker is not going to be enough, though, right? Oh, my God. Is he actually going to get any Marines? Or any probes? That would be kind of silly. Actually, I'm not entirely sure how it works out with these upgrades. Maybe with Blink you can get a little bit more value. All right, so Jimmy right here, a man with a mission. That mission was to assassinate one probe. He's completed his job, and that apparently is the end for this man as well. He's gonna go ahead and now lift up the barracks, float it through the main of the Protoss. But all things considered, now that everything is calming down a little, you know what, Zest actually hit a supply block there. Now that everything is calming down a little, though, I think that Zest should be in a favorable position. He did actually build the robotics bay in like the most peculiar position ever. Why would you put that over there? I don't get it. What's the point? Prism, by the way, are on the other side of the map, trying to act cool. Anyways, he's gonna go ahead and get the extended thermal lens now. Corona boosting out a Colossus as well. The charge upgrade is gonna finish in 13 seconds, so that's where we have the Usain Bolt lots coming onto the map. We need a better name for them, okay? Speed lots, would that work? I'm not entirely sure. I guess speed lots is like the most obvious one. You'll see it once the Prism does load or unload rather a couple of those units as well, which I think he's gonna actually do here. They're very quick. Well, I mean, they're always quick when they're charging, right? But they're very quick, especially just when walking right now, when not charging. Nice little bit of harassment, though. Couple of units do get picked off. 3 SCVs for absolutely nothing. Zest obviously gets the Prism out of there and just slowly but surely starts chipping away right here at the Terran player. Okay, so the supply count has been pretty even. It's actually now slightly even in favor of the Terran player. This is usually, though, indeed, where this game becomes very scary for the Terran, because this is the moment where the third base is saturated, where Zest can actually get a lot of value. Now, there are units on the low ground. This is actually a very risky move. Yeah, okay, I love that. He does realize what's going on, decides to blink away, but then also recalls just barely in the nick of time. Very easy to lose a bunch of those units. At the same time, once again, Prism trying its very best to get a little bit of damage in, but I think that Taeja needs to start getting aggressive here real fast. So he's not really been producing that many SCVs, only really just now starts bringing up that SCV count once again. That doesn't mean that his army is massive. So it's currently 65 army supply here for the Terran player versus 40 army supply for Zest. It's just that Protoss is really good defensively, right? Especially with the Prism, and then those sentries, and then the Colossus. I mean, the Colossus is just so much value. We'll see exactly what Taeja wants to do with this force. I think he needs to get something done, though, because if you wait, the stronger this Protoss army will become, right? And the Protoss Death Bowl, always terrifying. At some point, you do need to mix in those ghosts. Zest knows exactly what's happening, though. He's going to be able to cycle his units right now towards the safety of that third base. No shield batteries over here, so maybe Zest is getting a little bit... Ooh, you know what? That's actually huge. He gets one of the Colossus. Second Colossus goes down as well. Yeah, he got a little bit brave. I mean, I thought maybe he knew something I didn't, but no, then we saw 2 of those Colossi die. Doesn't really matter, though, here in the grand scheme of things, because in the meantime, there's also still that Prism on the other side of the map being an absolute nuisance, and the army here does get deflected. I still think, though, that is pretty much the best you could hope for, right? I mean, oftentimes we see those fights exactly the same way, where Terran loses everything and then the Colossi still live, right? Like, if there's like 4 Colossi at some point, good luck trying to deal with that if you don't have any, like, I don't know, Vikings or you know, any of those, like, higher tier units. You can't really just deal with those very easily with just Marine, Marauder, Medivac, and Mine, right? Basically, what Taeja's doing right now is produce every unit that starts with an M, okay? That's the goal, okay? If you start something that's not with an M, it's not even worth doing. Likewise for Protoss, he's just trying to make as many units that cost a lot of gas as possible. Here we go again, wave number 2. No storm available yet. That is something we will see in just a little bit. The second source of splash damage is huge. Those Colossus obviously very helpful. 4th base though, not acquired yet. What is acquired right now is a lot of zealots in the top right-hand corner. And once again, they're going to load up into the medevac. There's one of the speedlots. Speedlot, could you walk back and forth for us so we could see exactly how fast you are? I just want to show the people that are watching this. Hey, psst. Psst, hey you. Okay, well, he's not going to walk. I'll try and see if he's deciding to walk here in a little bit. We do, by the way, now have the upgrade coming up as well for the ghosts. Makes the EMP ability significantly better. Really, really helpful skill. Right now, the storm is going to be done. We have a lot of upgrades also coming up, so storm is going to be done for the next big engagement. I like this quite a bit for the Protoss. Still though, Taeja has actually been clawing his way back into this, right? I mean, those mules really come into effect here. Oh, the War Prism though is loaded up with Marine or with High Templar right now. Does take a massive hit. Really painful. There's a couple of Widow Mines in odd positions, bringing a lot of value to this fight. Yeah, he needs to be careful. Please just take out these High Templar. It's too risky to keep them flying about the map if you don't have a Prism at full hit points. That's such a big deal. Once again, a couple of zealots inside of the main base. Trying their very best. Doing a little bit of damage. There they are, by the way. Super fast. Really, really quick. Alright, so here we go. Protoss trying to get into position, and I think he got it. Oh, huge storm! Lands on all of those bio units. That means the medevacs are going to try and start healing this, but this positioning here is just so favorable for the Protoss player. It is an absolute massacre. Taeja makes one misplay against someone of the likes of Zest, and he immediately has to leave this game. Alrighty, so here we go. The final map of this best-of-3 series will be Simulacrum LE. I wonder what kind of structure Taeja decides to proxy in this one, right? I mean, he's been proxying buildings left and right. Worked out much better in game number 1 than it did in game number 2. I think that really was the star senses of Zest, though, tingling, right? He realized, hey, wait a second. Something's not right? At the very beginning of the game, when those Marauders were being produced over at his turret, he realized that something was not quite right, and he decided to check. That was really a very important move there, and I think it's what eventually allowed him to win that game. But anyways, we're on a map that just got added to the map pool in SC2, so let me show you around real quick. Very large main base here, natural pretty standard, third base also easy to acquire. So after that is when this map really opens up. So you can see the 3 bases here are relatively easy to make, relatively easy to obtain here and defend as well. It's usually the 4th base I found that's difficult to take. So I guess this one is the most likely option in TVP, but that still does mean that you have to give up some positioning here near the southern section of the map. Now after that, there's these pathways that are set up. There's 4 of them if I'm not mistaken, that essentially split the map in half. So I can imagine there's going to be some really cool like fights, especially for positioning around this area. And I gotta say, so far after playing a couple of games on this map, it looks really, really solid. Pretty straightforward map, nothing too fancy. No watchtowers, no golden minerals, no like high yield Vespine geysers either. Which, believe it or not, those standard maps, those are the ones that the pro gamers are always looking to play on primarily. They don't really like, I know as a viewer you might enjoy watching those crazy maps more so. Like, for example, Redshift that we had, like, I think it was like end of previous year and then like beginning of this year. Like, Redshift created some crazy games, but usually the pro gamers don't really want to play on these maps nearly as often as something that is very standard. So I haven't found any like flaws with this map just yet. Everything looks very solid, very straightforward. Not too large, not too small. Now, in this game, Zest has decided to be a little bit cheeky. He's like, you know what? You want to make structures out on the map? I'll show you what I can do with exactly that. So, SCV did manage to get across. It scouted the lack of a second pylon. That is huge, okay? Well, Taeja didn't really check, but I guess normally you put the second pylon right over there, right? So it's pretty easy to get that information here. I'm surprised he actually didn't decide to check around this area of the map. Regardless, though, he needs to find a build here that's going to be good against this anyway. Here we go. The Adept is going to start shooting away here at the Reaper. Reaper is going to get that scouting information right now that the SCV did not obtain. I guess the SCV really did not want to get picked off. Obviously, you don't want to waste too much mining time. Already, though, the Stargate will finish up, and Taeja knows that something is not quite right. Factory coming up, Barracks coming up right now as well. Also, immediately the Starport. So, I guess he's going to go for maybe like a Widow Mine and then also a couple of Marines here in a sec. That Oracle, though. it's gonna be out fast. Like, this Oracle is gonna be inside of the main base here of the Terran player very, very quickly. Now, you need more than just 3 Marines in order to deal with this. He does decide to go for the Tech Lab, so probably will go for a Cyclone here. Reaper does find this eventually, but I feel like this is already a little bit of trouble. Let's see how he defends this, because there's really not that much here for the Terran player to deal with this. 3 Marines. I mean, they're gonna try their best. Obviously, it does now take 3 shots for that Oracle to kill an SCV, but that's still painful, right? Already a lot of damage being done, and he's just gonna continue flying around. A lot of lost mining time, and 5 SCVs while getting the Oracle out for free is huge. Now, at the same time, the Reaper once again returned here. A little bit of multitasking here for both players. Excellent work. Oh, he's gonna get himself 1 probe. Really nicely done. Oh, well. Okay, I was gonna say. Reaper was like, hey, you were supposed to kill me, you know? It's like, okay, I'll stop floating about. There you go. Get the final hit. Get the final hit. All right, now with the second Oracle out as well, though. I mean, I don't think that one's really gonna be able to get any kills. But he's certainly going to be able to continuously threaten to fly into that Terran base. So whenever Taeja wants to move out, those Oracles are sure to try and get in. Cyclone, very helpful when it comes to warding away those kind of early game aggressions. Cyclone obviously very good against pretty much everything that the Protoss player can throw at you in the early game, other than maybe like Marauders. Zest, though, is looking at this. He's like, you know what? I'm forcing you into an extremely defensive position. I'll just chrono boost out about 1 million workers and get a 3rd base. Look at the income right now. Look at the workers. We're looking at 32 right now versus 44. That's huge. It's a massive change. 3rd Oracle right now also joining the fray. One of the Oracles does fall. 2nd Oracle also gets picked off. Very big deal, actually. Right now, Oracles may also get locked onto by double Cyclone, although one of them will just barely fly away in time. Losing those units is actually massive, because if you look right now at the amount of units available here for Protoss, he took a 3rd base off of, like, you know, 2 Oracles and one or 2 Adepts, right? He really does not have very much. I feel like Zest needs to get some units going here really quickly, because otherwise he's gonna be in a world of trouble. Only just now is when Blink starts up. He does indeed have that Twilight Council, so Twilight Council will be helpful. Thing is, how are you going to deal with this, right? These Cyclones are going to be very, very good. I guess a Stasis Ward can help. Taeja not even really considering the fact there might be a 3rd base already. He didn't scan for that or anything along those lines.
Gangway coming through.
The longer that he waits, though, the larger this Protoss army becomes, right? Like, he's constantly warping in new units. Doesn't have a lot of gateways, but the 3 will help. Little bit of pickings here. Once again, another Stasis Ward. And I guess Zest will be okay. Now, imagine if he would have had 2 additional Oracles. This fight would actually just be won by him. Pretty sick. Pretty sick. Okay. So I think that Taeja decides to make the walk of shame. Even the Vikings right now are joining in on the walk of shame. Get home, boys. Okay, fine. They got tired. Okay. Their knee joints started hurting. Their plane joints. All right, so right now, though, I'm really favoring the Protoss player in this kind of scenario, right? Like, I mean, he's a full base ahead. He's got basically all of the production he needs. He's already getting himself the Forge upgrades as well. Terran is in a bit of a dicey situation. Just losing those couple of SCVs earlier on into the game really adds up here over time. He wants to go ahead and execute a push here. So we do have the +1 infantry weapons finishing up together with combat shield in just a little bit. It's just that at that point, you're going to be pushing into a much stronger Protoss army. Obviously, there's no, like, splash damage or anything like that in this army just yet. He will probably consider transitioning here in a little bit too. Oh, the Marine! Nicely done. Marine does indeed focus down that 1 Stasis Ward. A couple of Stalkers made their way towards the low ground. But this is what I mean, right? Like, you can defend 3 bases relatively easily on this map. Those force fields are going to be huge. Like, what are you going to do? Terran's not going to be pushing into that. There's no way. Love the fact that there's 1 pylon right over there as well. The Stasis Ward still very helpful. 1 force field on this ramp will shut this down. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why some players are more successful when a map pool first comes around. On many maps, Taeja would have been able to freely push into the 3rd base. Right now, he's been slowed down so very much already. A couple of warp-in cycles later, Zest's army is looking much more menacing. 3rd command center, by the way, coming up on the low ground. So interestingly enough, he does decide to go for the 3rd on the low ground there, rather than, well, what I would have assumed right over here. Once again, blink forward. Ooh, does manage to get one of the Cyclones. One of the Oracles, though, running very, very low. Oracle does fall down. One medevac also gets picked up. These are all like small pickups, but I think they go in favor of Zest, right? Yeah, he lost the Oracles, but the Oracles are not that big of a deal anymore. The longer that this goes on, the more that economy kicks in. And I know I'm really emphasizing that point here, but it's so huge. Like the economy has been in favor here for the Protoss player for such a long time. You're not gonna push into that. There's no way. You're gonna get force fielded, dude. These sentries may look not very intimidating right now, but they are ready to slice your army in half. That one observer as well. This is one of the things that a lot of players struggle with when a map is first new. What are the observer locations gonna be? Look at the vision here. There's pylons set up everywhere. He does not slip anything up right now. Okay, so once again, a couple of units get picked off. Blink goes on cooldown. Extra army gets warped in. Now there are double robo. Yeah, I was gonna say there's also a robotics bay. So I guess he wants to try and see if he can get Colossus out. Once again though, really good control here. Those force fields just perfectly positioned. Just barely squeezing a couple of those units through at the same time. We do have the Zealots now charging as well, but I mean they didn't get too much done. Just forcing some multitasking, which I don't think is really gonna be a problem for both of these players. Here's the thing though, this is like essentially the power move that's coming up, right? Once these Colossi are out and they have extended thermal lens, which is really not that long from now. Yeah, it will be confirmed here as well. This army from the Terran will just be absolutely massacred. So what are you gonna do, Taeja? Well, Taeja has been macroing up for a little while. I don't think he actually wants to push up that ramp anymore. Maybe that was a decision he was going to make earlier, but he's not making that call anymore. I love the blinks, right? It's so tempting to just blink all of the Stalkers at once, but he's just blinking a couple of them at once instead. And always tries to get the maximum value out of those units. Really, really cool. Double forts as well. I mean, this is looking really, really good here for the Protoss player. I would love him to mix in a couple of High Templar as well, or maybe even a few Disruptors. Just go for multiple sources of splash damage. That seems to be always the moment where Terran struggles the most. Terran right now, though, mixing a couple of these Ghosts. So the Ghosts, obviously, especially with their EMP ability, very, very good. We do not have the Zealots. Look how fast they are, seriously. They are so quick. They're ready to go for the counterattack, I think. Does Protoss really want to fight here, though? Because that Terran army is still looking really strong. Zest, I guess. We'll accidentally stumble across a 4th command center. Yeah, I don't think you want to add High Templar here. So indeed, it is going to be a couple of Disruptors. Zealots right now charging forward, but they can obviously run away very quickly as well. Once again, Medivacs gets sniped out of the sky, and the Stalkers blink backwards. And right now, Taeja is being run around like a fool, right? I mean, he's being played like a fiddle here. We see the Protoss army charging left, charging right as well. Excellent force fields. A couple of Zealots not even really participating in his engagement just yet. And I think we're just about to see a Zealot sandwich as well, if these from the high ground decide to move down towards the low ground. Now, the Vikings are going to town, though. The Vikings did manage to clean up all of those Colossi, but there is just simply way too much as Zest charges forward in a very clean engagement, and he does obtain the victory in a 2-1 fashion. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below, as it helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. If you really enjoyed it and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button, maybe the little bell icon as well, so you get notified as soon as future uploads go live. I post a video pretty much every single day, usually Monday through Saturday, so if you are interested, don't forget to subscribe. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you once again in the next one.